Well, I got one for you to share today. Hi, I'm Kurt from Kurt's Auto, and so since I've sold my shop, I've really been trying to work on my own vehicles and trying not to take on any customer work at the moment until my garage is done. But my friend, his daughter was going out of town, and I thought, sure, I can take care of that for you. She's supposed to be going out to Colorado for her school, and he just wanted the car looked over and make sure everything was taken care of. No problem. About 2-3 weeks ago, I did some rear brakes, an axle, a couple other little things, right? Well, he calls me this morning and says, hey, my car is shaking uncontrollably. I heard a pop, and now it's just shaking all over the place. So here it is, and I brought it out and I put it on jack. First thing you'll notice, how much movement is in that wheel. Doesn't seem super excessive until you look at the inner CV boot here. All right, we can see our CV boot, our axle there. Look at how much movement is in that. A brand new axle. The inner tripod joint. From what he said, they heard a pop and all of a sudden it just started shaking really bad at 45 miles an hour and above. I think I might take it and just show you how violently this thing is shaking so you know that kind of a shake comes from an axle. But we definitely have to replace the brand new axle again because it obviously failed. We got a defective part. So it's part of the automotive world where parts are not as good as you would hope they were. Even though they have a lifetime warranty on them, what good's the warranty if it only lasts 2 weeks, right? So I'm gonna get another axle. Hopefully they don't have this problem again, because in 1 week from today, this car is supposed to be leaving for Colorado, which is why I fixed it a month ago or a few weeks ago to try and make sure that if she had any problems, it happened here. So I guess I'm really glad it happened in Dubuque and not middle of Nebraska in the middle of the night, nowhere. I don't know. Yeah, so awesome. Warranty work. It's my favorite kind of work to do. Definitely not one of the reasons why I quit my shop. Actually, probably one of the biggest reasons why I no longer want to own my own shop is warranty work. Not that we have a terrible amount of problems with parts, but I will say things just aren't made as good as they used to be. The metal's not as good, the quality's not as good, and yeah, I get to do an axle for free. Yay. I decided to take this car and show you what a bad axle when your inner joint fails, what that looks like when you're driving. Okay, driving along at normal speed, I'm driving 22 miles an hour. There's not really any shaking or anything going on. Watch what happens when I start to accelerate and I get up to about 45. So I think I have a spot to do that right here. And you just see, oh, I don't even know if the camera picks it up. I'm gonna slow back down here because I got a thing. The whole car starts to shake. I'll see. Okay, we're doing 40 and I'm gonna accelerate. And I don't know if you can see my legs shaking. Like the whole car just feels like it's shaking side by side. Like the whole engine's shifting back and forth. I'm gonna turn around here and we'll get back up to speed and I'll see if I can figure out something to make it look, to show you better here. Under even a slight acceleration at that speed, just everything in the car feels like it's doing this. I'm gonna put this this bottle right there and see if that starts to shake for us and shows off what's happening here. So let's get going. Get it standing up here. And okay, it's pretty smooth. Here I'm gonna accelerate. Actually, it's not shaking as bad as I thought it would. You can see my foot though. Down on the ground, that's how bad my foot's shaking side to side. I hope that shows up on camera because this is, yeah, you get a a side-to-side motion, like somebody's got the engine and they're just shaking it back and forth. And I'll show you what that looks like from the axle when we get it out. Well, my new axle showed up. Same exact part number. However, this box was the first one with a nice fancy box, and this one's in a plain Jane box. So what I'm hoping is they spent all the money on the fancy box on the first one, realizing that, hey, we should put money into the part and use better metal. And so I'm hoping this one in the plain Jane box definitely doesn't break again. I asked the guy, I'm like, do you have problems with these axles? And they say they don't really have a lot of comebacks with them. So I don't know. He didn't see it as a, says the first one that he's ever seen fail in 2 weeks. So I don't know. I normally don't have problems with their axles either. I haven't used a ton of them. But they were who had it in stock and it was available. So they got another one in stock. Let's hope this one's better than the last. All right, well, this is some real shade tree stuff because I parked it underneath the tree and I'm hoping it gets me some shade. But I have no place to work in my garage today. Everything's taken apart in there, so I get to work in the gravel. I can't wait till my garage is finished. It's very close. But as for today, this is what we get to do. Next, your axle popped off of there, and disconnect your lower ball joint. Alright, so we've got ball joint disconnected, well, unbolted, not disconnected, and the axle's loose. I should just have to get a chain, wrap it around the control arm, push down, and we'll pop that ball joint out of there. Alright, so I have a chain wrapped around my control arm to give me leverage on my bar here, and hopefully we're high enough off the ground that I can get this to pop out. Yeah, it's never that easy. I thought maybe because I just had it apart, it would just pop out of there. We're gonna have to hit it. These Subarus have a ball joint that has a pinch bolt that goes through and clamps it to the knuckle, and that's what I'm trying to separate. So I'm gonna have to get some more tools. I'm gonna use my little tapping tool here to tap on that ball joint and see if it'll fall out for us. We're gonna go right in the crack there, and boom. Just like that, ball joint popped. Now I gotta get my tool out of there, which sometimes is less fun than getting the ball joint out. Did just get the tool stuck. That was not planned. However, we're all right. I gotta get it out of there. There we go. Tool is out, and it's out of my way for right now. The axle's loose. Wow, how terrible is that? All right, now I think I can pop it from the inside of the hood if I remember correct. No, that was wishful thinking. Like the older ones, I used to be able to get in there with a pry bar and go down from the top, but these ones I'm gonna have to get it from underneath. So, wishful thinking with the gravel here, but it shouldn't be too hard to get out of here. Actually, I'm gonna get a different pry bar. So there's tons of different tools that you can use to get a CV joint out of the transmission. Oftentimes these nail pulling bars work really good. You just stick it between the axle and the transmission case, and you can either lift up on it or turn it sideways to get them to pop out. So I have really good luck using these kind of bars. Whew, a little bit of pressure and a little bit of a pull. She popped right out of there. There it is. Whew. That thing is really hot on the inside there. Way too much slop. Well, so I have the new and the old axles sitting right next to each other. Hard to tell which one's the new and the old. You can definitely see they use some different materials in the axle shaft. And this housing has got the burnt marks in it. This is the good one, or the new one I just got. This is the one that broke. So, I don't know. They're both made by GSP, it looks like. Yeah, I'm seeing some burn marks in the tripod where this was made, which kind of makes me concerned. So I don't really see too much of that in this one at all. But this one feels a heck of a lot better. I'm going to throw it in. Hopefully we don't have this problem again, but like I said, I've used a lot of these axles before and I've never really seen this problem before. All right, so out with the old, in with the new. Put a little lubricant on the seal race here to make sure that seal's not dry on the axle. And we're going to slide this guy in. Excuse me. We're going to slide this guy in. Line it up right. It should just pop. Oop, it fell out. Hang on. You're not right. Just like that, it clicks in. Give her a couple tugs, make sure it doesn't come out. You're good. Get the axle stuck back in the hub here. Whew, it is warm. Why is that not going together? There it goes. Oh, this one doesn't want to fit in the hub right. Whew. What is your deal here, bud? There we go. Had to be lined up perfectly straight to get her to go in. And same deal with this ball joint. Get the angle just in there just right. Should pop right back in. Need to get a hammer. All right, we're gonna make sure we get the ball joint seated all the way in. Damn it, man. All right, once we got the ball joint seated all the way in, we're gonna put the pinch bolt in, and I'm just gonna lightly snug it for right now. And we'll get a torque wrench on that, and the same thing with the axle nut. All right, so I got torque specs. We're gonna quick hit them. Lower ball joint pinch bolt. Get good and tight, and we have our axle nut. And then we'll just torque the wheel, and we'll be done. There. Release extension. All right, axle's tight. Now, on this type of bolt, there's a divot where you pinch the bolt into the crack like that. Once you achieve full torque, you're supposed to stake the nut to lock it. But new axle's installed. It's a warm one. Hopefully this is all it takes. And I'm gonna get the wheel thrown back on it and we'll go for a drive and see if shaking is fixed. So to better show exactly what went wrong, I have the axle locked in the vise, so this part can't move at all. So this should have basically no rotational movement. That's how bad it is. Inside each one of these channels, there's a bearing that rides in here. And on this one right here, that bearing had to have cracked and fell apart, and all the pieces must be inside the boot down here, because there should be virtually no movement at all. I'll show you what the original one looks like in comparison. So this is the original axle that I took out of the car. The inner joint wasn't the problem on this one. It was actually the outer joint was clicking going around corners. But now this has virtually the same style of joint, and you can see there's almost no movement there. I mean, a tiny bit, but there's virtually none. And so what happens here is when your axle's in the car, it's at an angle like this. So as it rotates around, the bearings inside here have to be able to slide in and out in order to allow that axle to drive in that angle. And what happened is when that bearing fell out, this one no longer wanted to slide, and so it would get to it, it would pull back and forth like this on the axle, and would actually shake the transmission back and forth. And that's what was causing the problem. So this one here is just completely junk. Yeah, I don't know. This is hopefully does not have the same problem again. Like I said, I can see they used different metal on the shaft because of the condition of it and just the way it was made. It looked like it was a much harder shaft, and I'm hoping that they put better bearings in it too at the same time. This one is made in 22, and the one I put in was made in 23. So yeah, this is the factory one. And which actually I can't take apart this one because I don't want to void the warranty, but I will pull this off so you can see exactly what's going on in there. All right, so this is what the inside of a tripod joint looks like. It has bearings on 3 axes that ride in and out on these races. See, one of the bearings right here would fit on there. And what actually happened on that shaft is one of these bearings failed. And so now when you put it in and you try to rock it back and forth, it has all that slop. So pretty positive one of these bearing races cracked and broke apart inside of that boot on the new axle, which is what caused the problem. And what happens is if these get stuck in this and there gets wear inside of this, the race on this inner joint, what will happen is the axle will stick as it's going around and it will pull and tug on the axle. So that's what gives you the side-to-side movement. So anyway, that's what's inside there, and that's what caused my problem. I just took it out the highway, ran nice and smooth, no problem. So if you ever get a shake that seems to kind of want to not necessarily shake the steering wheel, but makes the vehicle shake side to side, and you can feels like the engine's getting pushed back and forth, normally that's the inner tripod of an axle shaft, and that's what the case was with this one. So luckily we got it all back together. It wasn't too big of a deal. Hopefully we don't have any more problems with that in the future. Like I said, never really had a problem with those axles before, so it was really surprising for him to call me and tell me that, but glad I got it back together for him, and it's all done. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.